Hi everybody, welcome to FlossTube number 35. I'm so glad to have a chance to get back and visit with you just a little bit today. So grab a cup of coffee or hot tea and sit in your favorite chair, get your stitching, and let's visit just a little bit. I want to share a little bit about what I've been up to. It's been a little bit since I was able to get on here and visit, and so I'm going to tell you what I've been up to. Well, Christmas, of course, that's just a busy time for everybody. And we were so happy that we had all of our crew here at home for Christmas and enjoyed just spending time with them. My oldest son didn't have to go back to college right away. His wife had to go back to work, unfortunately, so she flew home a little earlier. But he was able to hang out and stay a few weeks longer, and we so enjoyed that time with him and his wife Haley, and then our youngest son Lane. It was just fun having everybody all under one roof again. So I hope you guys had a chance. If you have family that came in, I hope you enjoyed your time with them as well. Then it was time to put all the Christmas decorations up. And I don't know if you're like me, but when I get all the decorations put back where they belong, the house looks so bare. And I was like, I know it's a little ways until Valentine's, but I've got to get something out because it just looks like I have empty rooms with all the Christmas put up. So I've been busy working on Valentine's. So it's been fun. It kind of brightens it up again and makes me feel like I still have some stuff in my house. Then I just got back last week from the Sampler Symposium held at the attic. And it was so much fun. I feel like I learned so much. And once again, Jean and her crew just blew it out of the park. The teachers were fantastic. The projects were amazing. Just being around all the other Stitchers was just a fantastic weekend. So I couldn't have asked for it to be any better. And on a happy note, you know how if you play football, you think the highlight of your career is going to the Super Bowl. If you play Major League Baseball, the highlight of your career would be like the World Series. Well, as a cross-stitch designer, I had my World Series at the attic because Jean had set up a trunk show of several of my charts. And so it was so exciting to go in there and see a table that had several of the models of some of my samplers and charts on display at the attic. So thanks to Jean for supporting me and my love of reproduction samplers. It was so much fun to see that. And like I said, I feel like that was my World Series. I had a great weekend looking at that. So the first thing I want to take a little bit of time and share with you today is some of the kits that I got at the Sampler Symposium. Now, some of you were there and I got to visit with you. So that was fun, and you've already seen this. So this might be a time to go refill your coffee cup. But I'm going to show some of the kits to those that weren't in attendance. So then maybe next year you'll be like, I gotta go. I've got to sign up when it comes open. So here they are. One class, and I took several classes by Mary Cox. She was an amazing teacher. Just as a former teacher, I admired her teaching style. She made a point of going slow enough that we could understand each step, going around to the different tables, making sure if anybody had a question, they were able to ask. And so I really enjoyed the classes that I took with Mary. One of the projects was called the Pet Lamb Sewing Set. And it's just a piece off of a sampler that she has, and she turned it into a little drawstring bag. Then there was this acrylic set that had some smalls in it as well. And so everything is in this box to make this whole sewing set. And it's just really cute. Then I went a little bit early because there was the opportunity, if you wanted to take some additional classes, you could go and have a class on Friday or a couple classes, and then same thing for Monday. You could have a couple classes on Monday. So on Friday, excuse all my rattling here, I took a class from Mary Cox called the Pocket Watch Sampler. And it's just the sweetest little piece, and I'll show you when I get it finished. I actually started this during the symposium and got quite a bit done. But everything was included. The watch, the fabric, the trim, everything, and the instructions. And so this was a fun piece. And something interesting, because you guys know I'm a little bit of a history nerd, that I didn't realize. She said if you ever find an old, like an antique pocket watch, inside, like if someone had to send their pocket watch to be repaired, they would have put, kind of where the sampler is, they would have put a watch paper. And it could have had different advertising things on it. It could have had the name of the person who repaired the watch or what was done. And she said then, let's say later on something happened, you needed a new battery, you needed something else done to the watch. You would take it in, and they wouldn't take that paper out. They would just add another one to the top of the watch paper. So I thought that was very interesting. And it really makes me, I need to go antiquing again pretty soon. And it makes me want to find an antique pocket watch and see if there are any papers inside of it. So it's kind of like a treasure hunt. I doubt I'm the only one that feels that way, but I'm looking forward to trying to find a pocket watch and seeing if there are any pocket watch papers inside. So if you have one, check it out and let me know if you found some. I just thought that was kind of a cool little tidbit that I was not aware of. Then we had a very interesting talk from Nicola Parkman and Claudia. And it was called Upstairs Girls and Downstairs Girls. And what it was talking about the difference in samplers from girls who would have been considered in like a working class, or maybe girls that were in an orphanage, compared to young ladies who would have been middle class to aristocracy, and the difference that you would see in a sampler that they produced. And it was so interesting just to hear what they had to say about that. And so Claudia, we received Bristol that she has. It's Isabella Thatcher. And this would have been a young lady that was in an orphanage. Then this was another interesting thing that I wasn't aware of. I always learn something when I listen to the teachers there. And Claudia found this sampler that had lots of what looked like bookmark designs. And as she did some research, she found out that that's very typical from a particular school in the UK called Sudbury Hall. And it was a school for girls. And so you would have seen samplers worked that looked like they had lots of bookmark patterns on it. And so that's just kind of like a sign. If you ever see a sampler like that, let Claudia know, because she's been doing research to kind of pull it together to help classify samplers that look like this probably came from Sudbury Hall. So just interesting tidbits of history in there with that. So be on the lookout for those. If you find one, let her know. This was another sampler. It's called Francis Church. And I'm going to hold it up. And if you look closely, it could have been a Sudbury Hall. I don't know. But it has little bookmark designs on it as well. Then Kathleen Littleton from Cross Stitch Antiques had a wonderful talk about Quakers and the differences in them, characteristics to look for with Quaker samplers, and just did a great job explaining Quakers and letting us learn just a little bit more. And so our class kit from her was a sampler reproduction, Anne Hunt Nailsea, 1805. It's a Quaker medallion sampler. And it's just a beautiful sampler. Came with the linen and all the 103 threads, which I love. I love the fact someone said, why do you like the 103 so much? And I love all floss and all fibers, but to me, the 103s are so easy to stitch. I like the fact it's on a spool. I like the fact it's one strand. I can pull it off and get to stitching. So I think those are probably my two biggest reasons I really like it. Plus, it's just a pretty silk. Then I had another class from Mary Cox on Monday called the French Convent Sampler. And I thought this was so interesting. I did get a good start on this one, but I'll show you what it looks like. She said she picked this sampler up when she was visiting Paris. And as she was talking to them, because it was stitched in blue, they said that would have come from a convent, that they would have never stitched a sampler in red. And then it says, souvenir of Marie, or yes, Marie, could be Mary. Lots of times I heard someone comment, lots of times the Virgin Mary is dressed in blue. That could be part of the reason, but they just made the comment that you would not see a red sampler from a convent. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know, maybe red was risque to them. Kind of interesting. So this is my start. I'll show you. It's on, which this was a little bit of a challenge. It's on 40 count over 1, but just using tent stitch. But such a sweet little pincushion. And the finish on this, I was very interested in learning about, is a mattress top pincushion. And it just looks so cute. I'll try and show it to you when I get it completed. Then this is another Mary Cox class. This was an additional class. And as you know, last year, Mary Susan and I kind of did a shaker journey. We went to several shaker villages, learned all we could about the shakers and their work using needle and thread. And when I saw this class offered, she included this little box. Now, I own one of these already, and it came from Fry's Measure Mill up in New Hampshire. And if you see, I know it's kind of hard to see, that's a little hand on the box. And the man who made these modeled that hand from his grandchildren. And I just thought that was so sweet. You cannot get these boxes anymore. I think Mary said that she had purchased these in 2000 or somewhere around that time and had just held on to them. And so when I saw that, it made me just say, I've got to take that class because I love that little box. And I know that's the only way I could get one. But it was just a little box full of smalls, like a little needle book, just a little pincushion. And then she found these are little antique German flowers. And just the whole little small collection is so sweet. This picture really doesn't even do it justice. It was absolutely adorable. And I am going to tell you a tip that I learned from Mary that I thought was very interesting. She gave us all these empty fingernail polish bottles. She said she bought them off of Amazon. And what you do is just put your fray check in there, and then you can brush it on wherever you need it. And I thought that's so smart. Easy, but I never thought about it. And so I'll pass that little tip along to you, courtesy of Mary. She just was an amazing teacher. Then Needlework Press taught a class, and I love listening to Vicki and Megan. They do an amazing job. They had this beautiful vignette set up, and I know I follow them on Instagram and love to see the pictures that she posts because they're just so sweet and so pretty. This little pincushion was their class project and included everything. We were able to see the original, and the model just looks so sweet when it's completed. And so everything is in here to actually finish your pincushion. And she's always fun to listen to and share stories. And so I just thoroughly enjoyed. All the teachers were so knowledgeable and so sweet with sharing tips and advice for all of us that were in attendance. So I encourage you, if you've never been, it is well worth your time to sign up. So be watching. Oh, one more kit. And I don't want to leave this one out. This was from Nicola. And it was 2 samplers. One was from an upstairs girl, and one was from a downstairs girl. And the way Nicola did this, she asked us which was which, and kind of did a talk, and we changed our mind 50 times, I think, during the little talk. But it was fun to see which was which. But these are beautiful samplers, and Campion and Sarah Millthorpe. And so we received everything to stitch those as well, all the 103s. And I'll show you the fabric. This is for the solid black sampler. And then this is for the one with the manor house. And I have not, I'm going to be honest, I've not stitched on this. Because usually when I look at it, I think, oh, that's just got too many spots for me. But after seeing her model on this kit, it looks beautiful. It just ages that particular sampler. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it and see how mine turns out. I'm excited about trying it and kind of venturing out from my comfort zone with my fabric, I guess. So beautiful kits. And that's one thing that amazes me. If you go, let me give you a bit of advice. I went to summer school and I did not take an extra suitcase. And I regretted it because I had to rely on some friends. I ended up having to take an extra suitcase this time because I learned. And I'm glad I did because I had room then to put all the beautiful kits that come with attending. I do want to share 2 finishes this week. And one of them is one that I finished during the Sampler Symposium. For one of our little goodies one day, Jean had a whole table full of these little mesh bags, and you could pick a color of bag that you wanted, and then they had a whole tub full of the pearl cotton, so you picked a color of pearl cotton you wanted to go with your bag. And then this was charted that just said Attic Needlework Sampler Symposium with 2 little motifs and the date, the year. And so we started on this, some of my friends and I that were all in attendance, and it became our mission. This was the first time I've ever stitched on a mesh bag. And thanks to Christy and Dee and Melanie had all stitched on it. They're like, you have to turn your paper upside down, and then you turn your bag upside down so you can reach inside and stitch. The first little bit that I stitched on this, I felt like I just wallered it all over the place because it was different. It was different to stitch with. And I was determined. I'm like, I am sticking with this till I get it done. So I felt a huge sense of accomplishment when I finally finished the bag. But it was such a sweet bag. And then they included this little fob as well. See if I can turn it around for you. So it made a great little gift and a memento to bring back from the Sampler Symposium. So thank you guys for these sweet little gifts. Now I want to share about Bristol Weekend. That's coming up at the Attic. That will be their next big event. It happens in June. So be watching this spring as they post the registration form. And I'm so excited. Claudia and Nicola will be there again to share about the Bristols. And my Bristol that Martha Warboys that I have, and I've showed you guys Martha before, she will be released as a Bristol sampler that weekend at the Attic. So once again, I am just thrilled to see my Bristol at the Attic and being released on Bristol Weekend. I couldn't ask for a more special time for what I consider a special sampler. So I'm excited about that. You guys just be watching and sign up if you're interested in samplers. Sign up if you're interested in the Bristols. And I promise you'll learn so much you won't regret it. Now, I told you that I took all of my Christmas down and decided my house looked too bare. I need to get some Valentine up. And I have several Valentine pieces that I've had in the past. But of course, you know, we have to stitch something new for each season, I think. And I found this little design, and it's Cupid's Cup by With Thy Needle and Thread. There's actually several designs in this little booklet. So if you buy the booklet, you'll have several different Valentine pieces that you can stitch. But I have a little coffee bar in the kitchen, and I thought this would be so sweet to put over there by the coffee bar. It was a super quick stitch. I'll have to confess, my mom stitched this because I've been still stitching on some samplers, and then I just did the finishing. But she had it done very quickly. It's stitched on a petal pink linen that, or Ada, I think it's a 16 count, I think Ada. And it's just some I had in my stash, but I liked it on the pink. And it says, "Love you a latte." I just thought it was very sweet. Finished it on this little board from Hobby Lobby, which I painted green. Kind of sanded the edges and put some clear wax on it. I then mounted the stitching on a sticky board, put some red cording, and this little fluffy red bow that I got the ribbon from Hobby Lobby as well. So just a quick finish. I think it took me maybe 15 minutes. So it's something that you could put up if you have a coffee bar. It'd be cute if you have a tiered tray. There's lots of things you could do with this, but a fun way to get ready for Valentine's Day and get some stitching in. So that's my other finish this week. I do want to show you some haul that I got this week, and I'm excited about it. I ordered a hand and lock case, and it's beautiful. I love it. It's beautiful, but I am having trouble figuring out how to fit all my stitching notions in there. I'm still not going to give up. I'm working on it. But I have a friend, Polly, who has offered to reconstruct another jewelry box case for me that will serve my needs for what I need. I need just a little more room. And she's so talented with her stitching that she's offered to give me some assistance. So I'm going to take her up on that because I have to have a navy box to match my beautiful stitching kit that she made for me. So she's, bless her heart, going to come to my rescue. In the meantime, I have another sewing set that has violets on it because, of course, violets and verses. I got to have that, right? And so I'm like, I need a little container to put my notions in when I use that set. And so I found this through needlepoint.com, I believe it is. I'll have it listed down below. And it's called a jewelry case, but it was on this Needlepoint site. And you can unzip it. It's just one. It comes with a little bag inside. I probably won't use that. And I think that's going to be a great little case to put my scissors, a pack of needles, maybe a needle minder, some clips, just a few little notions. So I thought, I'm going to get that to go with my violet sewing set. Then on the top of it, it has this little indentation where you can insert something, whether it's a picture or whatever. But of course, we know we're going to put some stitching there. So I'm going to show you what I found on Etsy. I'm super excited about stitching this. It's just called Vintage Violets. And I'm going to do it, I've got to calculate what size. I'm going to try and do it on a high enough count to where it will fit on the inside of my little box. And I'm just looking forward to making that, so I'll show it to you when I get it finished. I also, when I was on Etsy, you know, Etsy can be a rabbit hole. I see one thing, then it shows you there's more like this, so of course I got to look. And I found this little sewing set. It's by FabyReilly Designs. And it's a little biscuit new. I thought I'd stitch a high enough count. I can put that maybe in my sewing set. A little needle book, a little scissor holder, and it looks like a scissor fob. So just a sweet little set of violet accessories, sewing accessories. So I'm going to have to take some time and do some of these at some point. I just thought they were sweet. These are the colors. I went with a little softer shade of lavender, and I think that's going to look nice with the little set there. So I'll have to show you that when I get it finished, but I was excited to find that. Then I went to Hobby Lobby and I saw a couple of boards that I think will be perfect with some kind of stitching on them. This little board was at Hobby Lobby. It's already got this little heart piece, and look at all this space that you could attach a Valentine stitched piece. I also found this little board. It's just plain. You could leave it or you could paint it a color, but at the top it has a sweet little heart cut out. So that came from Hobby Lobby as well. Then I was in Michael's and saw this wooden bunny. And I know after Valentine's, we have Easter coming up. And that looks like it's a nice size to mount some Easter stitching on as well. And it was like $19.99, but they'll go on sale pretty soon, I'm sure. So just be on the lookout. I wanted to share those with you. I also bought an extra one of each of these that I'll give away this week. So those will be 2 of the giveaways this week. Now I have some exciting news to share with you. I shared about our Shaker Sampler Sisters Retreat that we did last October in Enfield, New Hampshire. We had the best time, two great groups of ladies, and we're going to do it again this year. So all the information has been posted on my Instagram. It's posted on several Facebook sites. It's also on my Violets and Verses Facebook page. And I'll put the link down below. If you're interested, you can go on. Registration opens tomorrow at noon. And this year, I'm excited to share what our class project is going to be. Every participant, of course, will be at the Enfield Shaker Museum. We're going to be kind of immersed in everything Shaker. We have Kathy Irving from Rustic Gourmet coming back as our chef. She will be providing all of our meals for us, and she uses Shaker recipes. And so then even when we're eating our meals, we're still immersed in everything Shaker. So everybody that went last year just raved about Kathy's cooking. It was hard to come home and cook myself because she really spoiled all of us. So I'm excited to say she'll be there again this year. Now, our class project, everybody that attends is going to receive a little Shaker box sewing set. So you'll get the box that is being specially made. You'll get not only the box, we have a design that you'll stitch that will fit in the lid of the Shaker sewing box. We also have the lining, we'll have some stitching on it, and that will be your base, your basic part. You'll have the sewing box. Then throughout the time during the retreat, you'll have 8 smalls that you'll be making. There'll be a pincushion, a scissor case, a little ruler, a waxer, a little pin disc, lots of smalls that all fit inside this sewing box. So when you leave, you'll have a Shaker sewing box and 8 smalls that go with it. This Shaker box is based off of Rosetta Cummings' sewing box, which is on display at Enfield. And so if you come, you'll have a chance to see the original and then make your own to take home with you. We also are in the works of having some optional classes before the retreat starts. We have the 2 sessions, and so those are optional. If you're interested, you can come a day early, and one will be a little whisk broom class, and one will be a Shaker cooking class by Kathy. So we're excited to offer those. That's something new this next year. You'll make your hotel reservations directly through Enfield. We have all that information on the registration form. So we would love to have you guys join us. There's always door prizes. There's a snack table. The stitching room has fantastic light, plenty of room to spread out. We are limiting it to 25 ladies or men per session. So we keep the class sizes small enough that we can give as much help as needed. And one interesting thing that we're doing, Shakers used a lot of poplarware. And if you're not familiar with poplarware, it's where they would have made needle books, or they would have made cases or boxes using very thin strips of wood. And we will be teaching a class on replicating that, but using fibers. So you'll be stitching your own version of poplarware. We don't think that's ever been done anywhere else. And so we're super excited to share that with you. And it looks, I have to say, just like the poplarware. So we would love to have you join us. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send us an email and we will get back with you. Mary Susan from Prim Peacock Samplers is hosting this with me. And either one of us you can contact and we'll be happy to answer your questions. I think other than announcing the winners from last Flosstube, I think that may be it for today. The stitch needle minder went to Melody Patterson. The little ornament board went to Julie Nichols. There were 3 charts that went to Kathy Harris. A little Bless Your Heart tool bag went to Arlene G. And the red Yazzie envelopes went to Sandy Walker. So if you heard your name called, and I'll have them down below as well, be sure and send me an email with your address, and I'll get your prize sent out to you this week. This week, let me show you the giveaways. Once again, we have the 2 boards from Hobby Lobby. We have this one with a little heart cut out. We have this one that has a little extra heart hanging down. And then we have this little board, which is similar to the one I made, and a roll of the Valentine ribbon to go with it. So we have 3 giveaways this week. So just comment below, let us know how you're doing, what you're stitching on, and I'll draw for the winners before the next floss tube. So thank you guys, take care, and have an amazing week. Bye-bye.